Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here with Carl, who comes up from Princeton, New Jersey, and we're having a fabulous session today. He's here for 3 days, and Carl just asked me a super important question. I realized I didn't have a video for that, and I want to explain it to you guys, and it'll be a great reference for you, Carl, after when you get back home. So here, stand right here on the side for a second. So the question he had, because yesterday we were looking at his swing, and I noticed that he was, it looked like you were really trying to keep your left heel down.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then when I asked him, I said, okay, in the backswing, because he was throwing him off balance, I said, okay, we've got to do the walk to a better swing. You remember seeing that video, Walk to a Better Swing, Shawn Clement. And so now in the backswing, when we're doing our stationary walk, we're encouraging Carl to allow that left heel to come right off the ground immediately into the backswing so that the brain gets to balance him properly on his trail leg. So that'll force him to balance himself beautifully on that trail leg. Now, he says, well, the reason why I started keeping that heel down is because it used to come back in a different place. And I know many of you have that windshield washer, right? So you notice after your practice session, you got this big swipe, this big circular swipe on the ground. And so the reason is very, very simple. As you go back, so first and foremost, the first thing we want to do is see how your pelvis is made, okay? So come on back up here. What I want you to do is balance yourself with the club on with your left hand. Let your right leg hang from its hip joint. Okay, so if you toe it in, you feel the muscles being used to toe it in.
Yep.
And right now it feels relaxed?
That feels neutral.
Perfect. So put that in the ground. Do the same with the left.
Nope, no. Not like that.
There you go. So this is your neutral pelvic position, right? So the plug in, right, from the ball of the hip plugs into the socket of the pelvis on a very specific angle.
Yes.
That's your angle. I actually have one of my teachers that hangs straight down. And mine hang more open than yours. Notice how much more open mine is, okay? So you'll have your own. So now, when that foot starts there, now if it starts square, it'll tend to want to open up naturally in your swing anyway.
Sure.
But the key is not to return that heel to exactly that spot. The key is to release to your target, right? So come on back over here. If now I start off like this and I let the heel come off the ground and I default to the ball, well, me defaulting to the ball, notice why would I shift my weight over here when that's my target? So the weight stays here, and as my body opens up, well, now my foot is almost open by 90 degrees. So that's where this was shifting. If you default, you say, okay, I'm going, but you kind of default and you're not going exactly in the direction that you want to go, and you start defaulting to the ball, well, that will determine exactly when this is going to hit the ground. So it's crapshoot. But if I stay in the direction of, we have the wet paint sign, we want to release towards keep out, right? So I'm going to aim here, release there for my draw, right? So I'm releasing over that little piece of that strip of tape, so I take it back and I release in the direction I want the ball to go. Notice my foot?
Perfect.
Didn't it come back to the same spot? Pretty much, right? So I'm going that way. Gather. Notice my foot? So then the brain says, well, in order to go there, I'm going to plant here and unwind that way. If I wanted to release here, then the brain would plant in a different way to allow me to release that way. So the planting of that foot is directly related to the direction I'm going to allow the club to release me in. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense.
All right. Carl, thanks for bringing that up. Everybody, thank you, Carl, for all that stuff. And we'll see you in the next one.